Hi everyone. Today we are going to start dividing fractions by a whole number. It says part 1, but really this is the only part because tomorrow we're going to switch it up and divide a whole number by a fraction. And the assignment is not, it's a 10 marks assignment, so you don't have to put that in Notability. So it's just the notes you're putting in Notability, watching this video while you are taking notes. Remember, you're an active learner. So the hope for today is you can divide fractions using models and number sentences, specifically dividing a fraction by a whole number. And by the way, this was a 5th grade learning target, so this should look very familiar to you. So let's get straight to it with a problem. Maria has 3/4 of a pound of trail mix. She needs to share it equally among 6 friends. How much will each friend be given? So we know we have 3/4 of a pound, and she wants to share it equally among 6 of her friends. And then how much will each be given? So what is this question asking us to do? This question is asking us to divide the 3/4 of a pound by 6. So it just says use a model, and this is the same thing you're going to have to do on your assessment too. So it could be a picture, a number line. If you need manipulative materials, like your fraction bar strips, we can do that. For this problem, I think I'm going to use a number line. So let me set that up. So right now I have a number line, just 0 to 1, but I want to make it into 4 equal pieces because up here we know that we have to split 3/4. So here's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. And then of course the 1 is 4/4. So we are trying to split 3/4 into 6 different pieces. So right now there are 3 sections. So what could we do to split it into 6 sections? So this one's pretty easy because there's already 3 sections. So if we split each section in half, then that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different pieces. But what does this mean? What number? Because it needs to say how much will each be given. So visually we can see that, but what does that mean? So we have to determine the unit. Since we split all the rest of the fourths into 2 pieces, we have to do the same thing to the remaining fourths. So now we see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces in our whole. So we have it split into 8ths. So that is going to be our denominator because the whole is split into 8ths. And each friend gets 1 of those pieces. So each friend gets 1/8. So the number sentence that we can use to represent this is we took our 3/4 and divided it into 6 pieces. But what we're really seeing is that to get our answer, we could do 1/6 of 3/4 is 1/8. 1/6 of 3/4 is 1/8. So either one of these. Now, what you're going to have to do on your assessment down the road is to compute it without models. So here, the easiest way is looking at this one right here, because I hope you know by now what of means. Remember, of in math means multiplication. So we could take 1/6 times 3/4. And they use our multiplication skills that we reviewed. 1 times 3 is 3. 6 times 4 is 24. And then we could reduce that. 3 goes into both of them. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 24 divided by 3 is 8. And we get our same answer. So let's just jump right into another one. This one does not have a word problem to go with it. We are just dividing 1/3 divided by 3. So you have 1/3 of a licorice stick and you want to divide it by 3 friends, something like that. So we're first going to use a model to represent the quotient. So this time I set up my number line. So this is 0, and then this is 3/3, which is 1. But this time I split it into thirds because we need to talk about 1/3. Now remember, you should be doing this with me. Don't just watch me do it. You should actually be pausing and taking notes on this. So what we're doing is we're trying to figure out if we have just 1/3 of something and we have to split it into 3 parts, what that would look like. So 1/3 of a licorice stick divided by 3 friends, or 1/3 of a pizza divided by 3 friends, something like that. So we're taking our 1/3 and we're dividing it into 3 pieces. But if we divide this 1/3 by 3, we have to do the same so we know how many parts we're talking about. So now I can see that I split it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different pieces. So my whole is broken into ninths, and each person gets one of these, so 1/9. So again, what you're going to have to do is write a number sentence. So these are the 3 questions you're going to see on the assessment. Write a number sentence to represent the situation. Explain your reasoning. So the explaining your reasoning, I didn't touch upon the last one, but basically it's just saying why. Well, here's our number sentence already. 1/3 divided by 3. But we can also think of that as we were taking 1/3 of 1/3. So explaining your reasoning, because we can see that we split that 1/3 and we're taking a third of it. We're taking a third of it. So now of means multiplication. So 1/3 of 1/3 gives us our 1/9. I'm going to do a few more like this before I switch it up a little bit. So now we have 1/2 divided by 6. I want you to try, so pause the video and try to do this one on your own. All right, this is what I have so far. I made my number line, and I had 0 and 1, and I split it into 1/2 because that's what our problem was showing, 1/2. And then I needed to divide that 1/2 by 6. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But because I split this 1/2 into 6, I needed to do the same thing over here. Okay, so now each person would get this, 1/6 of 1/2. So my number sentence, 1/2 divided by 6, is the same thing as 1/6 of 1/2. 1/6 of 1/2. And again, explaining my reasoning is because we can see in that visual model we had to take each person is getting 1/6 of 1/2. So using the model to get the answer, now we have it broken into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces. So our whole is now into 12ths. Our whole is in 12ths, and each person would get one of those 12ths. So computing it without models, so I put it in a multiplication, so 1/6 of, that means multiplication, 1/2, and then I can just multiply across. Did you get that one right? We're going to try one more like that before we shift gears a little bit. So please, again, be an active learner here. Actually pause the video and work through this. That's the only way you're going to learn. All right, first, thank you for those of you that actually are taking ownership of your learning and you did this on your own. Let's see how you did. So first, I made a very long number line because I knew that I was going to have to take 1/5 into 4 pieces. So I split it into fifths because that's what I needed to do. I needed to divide this 1/5 by 4. So I needed a fifth to start with. And so I divided it into 4 pieces, and because I divided this into 4 pieces, I needed to divide the rest so I could figure out my one whole is broken into how many pieces. So here is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 pieces. So now my whole is into 20ths, and each person would get 1/20th of that. So my number sentence part, we were given the division problem, and then I knew that I was taking 1/4 of the 1/5. 1/4 of the 1/5. So because of means multiplication, I could rewrite it and then just do that multiplication from yesterday. Okay, for this one, I'm going to use an area model. An area model for me works best if this number is not, does not have a 1. Because there are 3/5, it works best to use an area model. So instead of using a number line, I'm going to make it dimensional. So I'm going to have a rectangle that I'm going to split into fifths. Let's see how well I can do this. So remember, when you're splitting into fifths, each part should be about the same. So here is 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. Okay, and I need 3/5. So, oh, maybe I made that too light. There's 1, 2, 3/5 that we're talking about. So how can I divide that into fourths? Well, like the number line, I can divide it, but using the area model, we have to divide the whole rectangle, not just the little part of the line. So I'm going to divide it into fourths like that, but remember, we only wanted the part, so it's not this whole area, because we have this is our 1/4, right here is our 1/4. So if we're splitting 3/5 of a pizza between 4 people, each of the, so one person would get this, a second person would get this part, a third person would get this part, and a fourth person would get this part. So this right here is really what one person is going to get. So how did we split that up? We have how many pieces? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our rectangle was split into 20ths, but this time they each got 3. So they got 3/20ths. So let's see if we can write a number sentence. So the first one, the division part, was already given to us. So we needed to divide 3/5 by 4. But we could also think of it as taking 1/4 of our 3/5. 1/4, so we took 1/4 of our 3/5. So 1/4 of means multiplication, 3/5. Again, it works out to be the same. 1 times 3 is 3, 4 times 5 is 20. So the area model and our number sentences turn out to be the same thing. All right, So this is the last problem of notes, and then after this the assignment is many words. It's given to you as a problem, but then I do have a few word problems as well, like the first example. See if you can pause and use a model like we just did and a number sentence to find your answer. Be an active learner, take ownership, do this, just do it. Okay, so this is what I have so far. I knew that I needed to start with fifths. Okay, so I have my area model, and the reason I'm using an area model again is because that is a more than one. Okay, so I have fifths, and then I need to divide it into 3. So I need this divided into 3 different parts. So there's 1 part and 2 parts. So now it's divided into 3. And each person, if this was, again, 2/5 of a pizza being divided by 3, so here's my 2/5 right here, and each person would have this amount right here. So my 1 whole, my 5/5, is now broken into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pieces. So I have my 1 whole in 15ths, and each person gets 2 of those pieces. So the fractional is 2/15 of the pizza. So write a number sentence. So the first part is already written for us. 2/5 divided by 3. But we could have also said we needed to take 1/3 of our 2/5. So if I change that of to multiplication, we will end up getting the exact same thing as we got with the model. 1 times 2 is 2, 3 times 5 is 15. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, please do your assignment, stay on task, see you, goodbye.